I am currently watching some old Mid-South wrestling on the network from 1982 and have been enjoying a run by a pot-bellied old gentleman named Killer Karl Kox. I have only seen about 3 episodes featuring him so far, but he has already scored victories over Bob Orton Jr., Bob Roop, and the Wild Samoans. My question to Jim is twofold. First, I know Kox was quite the heel in his day, but why would Watts let him score pinfall victories over some of the top heels at this point in his career? Also, were the initials KKK a coincidence? Or was he attending some of the same meetings as Dick Murdoch back in the day?
Well, and there you have it. No, KKK was not a coincidence. Killer Karl Kox was Dick Murdoch's idol. And there's so little footage available. And Killer Karl Kox was one of the best workers at the style he worked in not only in the business at his time, but of all time. Not only convincing, but safe. He Murdoch had a great punch, right? Well, he stole Killer Karl Kox's punches, which, if they were working punches, looked like he was hitting you full force, but you never felt them. But if you were a mark attacking him, he had that 1 foot punch that could knock you out. Same as Murdoch. They just walk through people in a crowd, and people that they walked past would just crumple for no apparent fucking reason. It was goddamn remarkable. Kox had the brain buster, and he took great bumps. He was a great, solid worker. He had that fucking face. He made you believe that he was deranged. As I said, great psychology to him. People believed in him. So in the Mid-South territory, who were the names you mentioned that he went over on the TV? Who was the names that?
Roop, Orton, and the Samoans.
Not one single one of those guys at any point in their career was as over as a box office attraction in the Mid-South wrestling territory as Killer Karl Kox was. So the result was correct. He should have been beating those guys. If you watch him in a vacuum, yes, he looks pot-bellied, but he also was a legitimate tough guy, could beat your fucking ass, and everybody knew it because he'd done it in the arenas, in works with the wrestlers and shoots with the fans, and etc. He was a tremendous promo, could talk to people in the building. Murdoch, who was one of the best workers of his time in the industry, especially when he wanted to be and was motivated, wouldn't have idolized a guy that couldn't fucking go. Cox's shit was great. It's just before video, and so you don't really get a chance to see, his talent. And also Kox was nuts for real. He got a job, and this is a story Murdoch told me, and I have to believe him because everything else he told me about Kox has pretty much been true because it's verifiable. But this one, fucking Kox gets a job as a guard in, like, I don't know whether it was a mental institution or whether it was the mental wing of a jail, you know what I'm talking about, psych, whatever. And they had a guy in there, and I guess probably didn't help the guy's cause that he was black because Kox was a bit racist. But the guy was convinced, I don't know, he was fucking deranged or crazy or whatever the fuck, and Kox would go in there at night and convinced him over a period of time that the government was keeping an eye on this guy through transmitters in his fucking teeth. They had implanted transmitters in the guy's fucking teeth. Guess what the guy did? They come in one day and the motherfucker had pulled all his own teeth out of his fucking head with some kind of pliers he got at the tool shop.
Wow.
But no, Kox was a major fucking talent and a tremendous worker.
Great promo, too. I mean, one of the best promos of his generation. And I always think of our friend Masahori. And the match that made him a wrestling fan was Dick Murdoch versus Karl Kox in All Japan.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, big star.
And that would have been like watching Dick Slater versus Terry Funk.
Yeah, really?
Mirror image.
Did anyone ever talk to Dick Slater about that?
I think Terry did. It was an homage, I guess, and you can't fault a guy for being influenced by somebody the level of talent of Terry Funk, but it was, I think, when they even had the same hair, it started to get creepy.